Another edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, the Danaconda, Dan Sesnit. Dan, can't wait for us to be reunited this weekend, my friend.
I can't wait to hug you. Just a big old bro hug.
I might just kind of like maybe we'll have a handshake or something. That's just too aggressive for me, man.
No, you're getting hugged. I don't care what you have to say about it.
Fine, Dan. Okay.
You're getting hugged.
All right. I'm getting hugged.
It's either that or when I come up to New York. You pick your poison, but one time you're getting a big old Dan hug.
Oh, okay. Fine. We'll hug.
Yes.
Yes.
Excited.
Very excited. Obviously, me and Dan are going to be at Revolution this coming weekend. It's going to be fucking awesome. Just part of it is like, yeah, we're going to the show, but part of me also just kind of wants to really absorb the history of the Greensboro Coliseum. I want to see if we can walk around there, see if they have any memorabilia or anything like that. I'm just curious about it. I want to see that history.
I don't think it's really even sunk in for me, like the gravity of the situation yet either, right? Like this is Sting's last match, and the card itself is just, man, from top to bottom. I know that you think there's some holes in it here and there, but in general,
I think that in general the card is very strong. I think that there's criticisms to be made about the build of some of the matches. But overall, if you're just objectively just looking at the card, it's very, very good.
Very good.
I guess just looking at it at a glance, and I guess we'll get into it. It's
it's gonna be long.
The Meat Madness match does not need to be happening, and
I was hoping for more.
I know we didn't cover Dynamite from last week. Mm-hmm. But we touched on it very briefly, but
a little bit.
It was kind of a slap in the face to Wardlow, and I know that not everyone's a fan of Wardlow. What I can say about him coming out last week is that he showed a lot more fire than he has in a very long time, and I was happy to see him motivated, even though he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's Wardlow, what you're going to be getting and everything like that. But him coming out of that, saying that he demands to be at the top of the card and everything, it was just such
hard to take.
It was serious. It was so demeaning when they were like, and we're just receiving word that Wardlow's going to be part of the Meat Madness match.
Yeah,
it's just like you're trying to build this guy up, but then you're just putting him in a match. I don't know. It was eye roll inducing, man.
I was hoping for, maybe a big man style tournament or something like that. That would be really cool. But
maybe a gauntlet.
But just three big dudes having a triple threat match for no real, prize other than it'll probably be some cornball ass belt like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre belt or whatever.
The Arby's Championship.
The Arby's Championship.
We have the Meats Championship.
Yeah, something to that effect. But
it's gonna
I think it'll be an entertaining
every other match on this card except for that one. Honestly,
I think it'll be okay. It'll be entertaining for what it is. I was just hoping for more from it. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about the Revolution build and Collision later on in the show. But let's just start off the show this week talking about the big event that happened in Australia, Elimination Chamber. I thought overall, man, I thought it was a pretty solid card. They didn't throw any curveballs. I didn't think that. There's the classic Dan sigh. What are you gonna say now?
I thought it was a good show. I thought it was just kind of short on matches and predictable. That's all. It was the in-ring action was great. Was great.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
It was definitely predictable, but sometimes predictable is good. I guess talking about the first match that happened here, and I didn't see the pre-show. Did you?
No.
I just like the way that they've, even just looking at the pre-show, the way that they've been building Candice and Indy Hartwell, or lack of builds. There's really no reason to have any investment in them anymore, and it's kind of sad.
I mean, I think it was a reason to get Indy on the card in Australia.
Yeah, because that's kind of Australia.
I think that's kind of what the drive behind that match was, and good for her. But
I want to say that the women's elimination chamber match, the match itself was fantastic, and I thought that every woman in that match had their own like moments to shine and really took their moments and ran with it. The first of which, Tiffany Stratton. I think the fact that she was the most unknown to a lot of people, I think, is the reason why she is being like talked about the most coming out of this match in terms of what she could do. Yep, I thought that Naomi did a great job. Obviously, that left a very sour taste in my mouth that Naomi was the first one eliminated. I think that they should have played that a lot smarter, considering.
I mean, it's fucking Black History Month, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
But all kidding aside, it was she is going to do some rebuilding in the minds of the executives at WWE. I think. I don't think in the minds of the fans necessarily, but I think that's kind of what the deal was with that. It made me viscerally angry as well. I will say, and this might be a bit of a hot take, but I think that Tiffany Stratton is what Charlotte Flair thinks she is.
You know what? I see where you're coming from with that. Because let's face it, Charlotte, yes, her lineage is unmistakable. Her how she's been brought up in the business and everything, she has great instincts. You can say anything that you want about Charlotte presence, but the difference is that Tiffany Stratton was on the United States Olympic gymnastics team. Yeah. She's a legitimate super athlete of the highest order.
It's like Kurt Angle. It's like Kurt Angle. That's all. That's the best way to compare it. That's the same kind of level that she is of an athlete. Is the Kurt Angle, Chad Gable type athletes, right?
Yeah, and I've heard interviews with Tiffany before too, and the athletic part of it was never really a big hurdle for her, but her being able to, I guess she studied tape of like Paris Hilton and other really obnoxious blondes, but
I mean, she developed a socialite character.
She developed a very strong character, and she ran with it, and she owns it, and she's the total package, man, and I can't wait to see more from her. And if they want to do like Tiffany Stratton, even versus Bianca at WrestleMania, I would buy it.
I think that's the money match there. I think because that's just the epitome of likable versus unlikable. Like Bianca is just the most likable human being on the planet, whereas Tiffany is despicable. You said it yourself. Paris Hilton is the comp there.
Yeah, so, they're both, and they're both super athletes, and you're putting them against each other, and they couldn't be any more different in terms of character. And
sadly, I don't think we're going to see a non-title women's match on the main card, a singles match anyway.
I mean, you don't know that, man. It's 2 days, So they're going to have to fill out the card somehow.
I'm just praying that they do 2.5 hour days instead of 2 4-hour days, which is inevitable. But
yeah. Can you believe that we were at like the last 1 day 8-hour WrestleMania?
God, that was a fucking struggle bus, bro. I mean, I don't know that I've ever had more fun with a group of dudes, except for we had a lot of fun at Bound for Glory. But in general, like
that WrestleMania weekend was hot though.
Oh man, that whole thing, bro. We have to one day we have to get that crew together to do that again, because with some additions, obviously. Because man, that was such a fun weekend that I miss.
Definitely. I also want to say, coming out of this match, knowing more about Raquel's situation, I have even more respect for her. Watching the match live, I didn't know about her skin situation, by the way, guys.
I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, so I didn't know about that watching the match, and I thought she was just very impressive. And I liked, and I understand that she couldn't have makeup on because of her skin condition, but I actually liked that look on her. And
She
like,
looks great.
I thought so too. And like, she just came off more intimidating. She's obviously lost a lot of weight too.
Yeah.
Not that she was ever like overweight or anything like that, but she just
Yeah.
looks slimmer.
Yeah. And
But
she's still strong as all get out, so she didn't
hell
lose
yeah,
anything with
she did
that.
a double Chicana bomb to
Yeah.
two people. I can't remember exactly who. But yeah, she looked great, and you know,
Who did you know, we both said this too. Is that and you brought it up in the group chat, and I'll give you the initial credit, but I was thinking the same thing at the same exact time because we have like minds. But a heel turn in the future is what's needed for her.
yeah,
I
man.
just think she works better as a character that way,
Just
personally,
like
for my taste.
we've been trying so hard to get her as a babyface for the last 2 years since she's been on the main roster, and I never
It
really
doesn't work.
understood why. Because like her whole bag when she was in NXT was a dominant heel, and it worked. And I don't know why they've been trying to do this so hard. Like
I
I feel like she'd
sort
be
of
so
get it now.
comfortable.
I sort
Yeah,
of get it now because you have Naya in that role. You
yeah,
have Rhea in that role. So you add another third dominant big woman, right?
mhm.
Technically, even though we both agree that she's slimmed up or toned up or whatever you want to call it, whatever she did, it is maybe it's just not the right time for it. So
Yeah, yeah. But we'll see what comes down to that. Bit of a surprise at the end was Liv Morgan being at the end with Becky Lynch. I was
yeah,
and she eliminated Bianca. That was a big surprise. Like, are we going to see any sort of fallout from that? Is Bianca going to be beefing with Liv Morgan? Like, I don't know.
I hope. I mean, I like Liv. I don't know, man. I hate to say this, but I'm kind of like I think Liv's time is sort of past. I think there's so many other people that have passed her since she was champ and all that.
Mhm. You can't
That
deny
like
the fan reaction, though. You really can't.
she does. I just personally, for my taste, I think that there's women on that roster that are better, including as a heel, the aforementioned Raquel. And I think Tiffany's ceiling is higher. I think that
Yeah.
Bianca is obviously clearly a bigger star. I think whatever Jade comes around to getting in the ring for real outside of a Royal Rumble, you have that. I just think there's so many people that stand out beyond Liv right now.
Mm-hmm.
But crowd
I
reaction
hear what you're
matters.
saying. I mean,
Crowd reaction matters.
regardless, still a very good talent, someone who's very
Yeah.
reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Becky came away with the win here. I think that's kind of what we were all expecting. Um, I selfishly wanted to see, it come down to the end between Becky and Naomi picking it up. But boy, did that opposite happen.
I
uh,
I I don't know who I wanted to win, but I know I didn't want Becky to win.
yeah.
I'm
And
not.
that's not even to say, too, like, if you looked at Becky's work over the past year, like, there were a lot of times where, like, I was like, holy shit, Becky is such an MVP for the women's
Yeah,
division. Like, her feud with Trish and, like, her work with Zoe Stark and just what she's been, the matches that she's been putting on all year, man. Like, she really does deserve to be in this spot. I'm not
because
going to,
I don't want it doesn't mean I don't think she doesn't deserve it.
yeah.
Because she does. What
Mhm.
she did in NXT was amazing. You're right. I didn't even think about the Zoe Stark or Trish stuff either.
Yeah, the NXT.
So
I didn't
like
think of the NXT stuff, man. Thanks for
you
filling that.
know, like so to me it is she absolutely deserves the spot. I
Mhm.
just I don't know. I don't want to see Becky and Rhea. It does nothing for me really. I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe it'll probably slap. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say it won't, but
I think the way to make it work is you have Rhea go over. In my opinion.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think Becky's at that point in her career where she is gonna be able to do that.
for sure. Um, Next we had for the tag team championships, Judgment Day against Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I love Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, brother, but this new name, New Catch Republic. I'm
Disagree.
sorry, it's not it.
Disagree. I like it.
Bad name.
I think you're the only person in the group that didn't like it, but that's
maybe
fine.
not. Maybe the only person in the group, but I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like that name. I'm not alone in that opinion. Both of the guys, both Righteous Reg and Phil Lindsay on Grapsity, both hate the name.
Okay, well,
and when I heard them say that, I
hate their names.
That's what I thought.
I'm just kidding. Shout out to them. They're great. But no, I like it, and I think that your beef is that there's another catch stable, and I get that.
Like, yes, there is that, but like that other catch stable doesn't even have a good name either. Like No Quarter Catch Crew, like that's weird too. Like I don't know. These are
do you understand it?
The No Quarter Catch Crew?
Yeah. No? Do you know what no quarter means?
No.
Oh, it's a pirate thing. So no quarter means that they give no quarter. They just attack. Like that's what it means. It's an old pirate phrase. It's a pirate phrase for attack. We don't it's an aggression thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. It just both names seem very clunky to me, in my opinion.
Fine.
But I thought the match was good. I thought it was a good performance by Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I hope that they have more of a presence on the shows going forward because, those are two guys that you can put in anywhere in any position and they're going to show out. So.
They are absolutely going to show out, but again, this was one of those things where I knew going in as a ginormous Pete Dunne fan, he wasn't going to win. You know what I mean? Like,
and here's another thing too, is like they need to figure out this men's tag team division too, because that Finn Balor and Damian Priest, they're a temporary solution to this tag division right now. They've
been champs for so long.
Yeah, I mean, they need to get something going. They need to do something else here. It's just it's awkward. I don't know, and like. I've said it before, DIY feels like diminished. They don't even use Imperium anymore. The Gable group isn't even a tag team anymore.
No, tag team. I mean, apparently Vince is not left in regards to tag teams.
Yeah, that's so weird. Is like, Vince was against tag teams, but it makes you think, are there other people back there that were also against tag teams?
It must be, but that's lame because tag team wrestling is cool, bro.
Absolutely, man. Just ask the Grizzled Young Veterans and the ABC on No Surrender, which I'll talk about later.
Yeah, I saw the results.
Little hot dog. All right, so the men's elimination chamber match. Drew came out on top over Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, LA Knight, Logan Paul, and Randy Orton. I thought this was fun. It was another result that I was expecting to happen. I thought that some of the surprises here were pretty cool. Logan Paul just getting his absolute ass handed to him by Kevin Owens at several points in the match was just so fun and satisfying.
The gif of Kevin Owens smashing his head against the elimination chamber glass is just fantastic.
You got to do something with Kevin at WrestleMania, man.
Like what though?
Need to start thinking. I don't know.
It's probably gonna be fucking Kevin and Sammy again. Because they can't come up with anything else.
Dude, if they want to do Kevin and Sammy for the tag titles against the fucking Judgment Day and have them win it again, start back up at square one. I mean, sure, I guess.
Only if it's El Generico and Kevin Steen.
Got
to bring him out of the orphanage in Mexico.
I think El Generico appearing on WWE TV is more of a reality now than it's ever been.
It would be hilarious.
Yeah,
it would absolutely be fantastic, and they could pull it off too. They've been playing the long game with this for forever on Twitter, so why not? That would be amazing.
So a couple storylines coming out of this match. First of all, Bobby Lashley had the elbow injury because he had been attacked by the Final Testament. So I think that leading into WrestleMania, you're going to have a big like gang warfare of the Final Testament against Bobby Lashley's crew, whatever they're called.
6-man tag.
6-man tag. Yep. Maybe even an 8-man. You know, if you want to involve the two women. Actually, they can't really wrestle. What am I saying? Yeah. So another thing that's going to lead to WrestleMania, LA Knight got attacked by AJ Styles, and I laughed so hard because people were saying like AJ
hater of the year,
16 hours just to be a hater. Yeah.
That's hate. That well, Fightful Select added a hater of the year category for next year.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god! Well,
and it's still going to be Nigel.
Definitely in the lead for that.
No, so Nigel is and forever will be the king of all haters.
Yeah, I forgot about Nigel, but I don't mind LA Knight versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I think that they can have a really strong build. I think that their personalities are strong enough to where they can get something very interesting leading into WrestleMania.
I think AJ can carry it in the ring, and Knight can carry it on the mic, and both of them can contribute in the opposite way as well. So it's not like they can't do it. I think it'll be a really good program.
I think so too, and we're obviously going to be getting Logan Paul and Randy Orton because you know Logan Paul with the brass knuckles cost Randy Orton this match. Randy Orton also eliminated Logan Paul with the RKO. Those are flipped. Those things happen one after the other. So, that's not a surprise to me. I mean, the Logan Paul, the reach that he has, if he's going to be in a very high-profile match, let it be against the guy that everyone who doesn't watch wrestling knows because of the RKO meme, right?
Yeah, I mean, Randy Randy definitely transcends wrestling in a lot of ways. He's definitely well known outside of the wrestling community. I think this is a good and if they build it right, he gets in on Logan Paul's show or whatever. We hate Logan Paul for a multitude of reasons that are good. Let's not pretend like he's not good at this pro wrestling thing.
No, he is.
He understands it, and from the character aspect and the building of matches and the in-ring, aspect, he gets the fight game. And it's going to be the build to that is going to be awesome.
It is, and you mentioned too, like just this guy's reach as far as like multiple forms of media goes, and I think Randy's definitely going to like crash his podcast. We might see something on McAfee for all we know. There's a lot of different things that you can do to build to this. So, but Drew is going to be facing Seth at WrestleMania. I know it's not really the match that we wanted, but I think that this is the right match based on how they have been building Drew post-Punk injury. I think it's the right way to go.
Do you think that they end up putting Sammy in the match?
That's
the way it's been going.
Interesting. I actually didn't watch Raw last night, believe it or not. Yeah, so, refresh me. Did something happen?
No, I mean they were building Drew and Sammy up prior to CM Punk and all that. So I'm just curious, and I think they had some interaction. I didn't really watch Raw either. I read some of the spoilers / highlights.
Well, I would love that. I just want to see Sammy be able to get his shine. I wasn't happy that in the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches, they just put him up against Randy and had him lose to Randy very unceremoniously.
Yeah, like he didn't just return.
Yeah. That was pretty bullshit.
Man, I know I'm gonna get the hatred for it. Because and I'm not going to beat the allegations of being an AEW homer with the sweatshirt on, but like I truly believe that KO and Sammy would be better off in AEW. I don't say that about everybody. I just think that they would be really happy working with their friends again.
Yeah, they have friends there.
That's all I'm saying. But
it's
everybody has friends
also
everywhere, so
it's
that's not
also
really
a
like
situation of WWE needs to remember the value that they have in those two guys. Because you put them front and center in programs, they're going to take the ball and run with it.
They forget a lot.
They do forget
That's
it.
the problem.
Yeah,
they forget too often.
They just need to start remembering, how great these guys are.
I want to. I want reasons to watch WWE. Like, I want reasons to watch more wrestling. Not that I have the time to, but like, the way to get me to watch it is consistent storylines with guys I like, and that's not something that they have right now. So,
and I definitely think. I think that there are reasons, but may not always be your cup of tea.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about this main event. It was Rhea Ripley in her hometown coming out, facing off with Nia Jax in the main event for the Women's World Championship. Listen, I gotta say, and some people are trashing Nia for this match. I think by Nia Jax standards, this was one of the better matches that she's ever had. And
Nia has gotten so much better, man.
Yeah.
I'm not on the trash Nia bandwagon like I used to be, man. Like since she's gotten back, she has improved markedly. Like I will not deny that.
And I'm glad that she had that chip on her shoulder coming back.
Me too.
Because it made the product. It makes the product a lot better. I'm still not a fan of her promos. I don't think I ever will be. But
she's bad at them. But
I thought this was just completely appropriate. Opponent for Rhea coming back to her hometown. Cool, interesting fact is that this is the first time she was wrestling in her hometown of Australia prior to being signed, since being signed by WWE. So that was probably like 7 or 8 years, So Rhea got the win over Nia here. I thought it was a really cool big moment, her getting the riptide on Nia. I thought that the table spot on the outside, while if you watch it's Zapruder film style, maybe Nia slipped a little bit, but the execution was there. It was still a broken table. It still was a big moment that people are going to remember.
It was a fun match.
I thought it was a fun match, and it was just long enough. It was 14 minutes long. You don't really need to go any longer than that in an Nia Jax match. And Rhea looked like a dominant champion, as she should, in her hometown. And we're off to the races. We're off to WrestleMania.
Yep. So Rhea, Becky, we have Seth and Drew. We have Roman and Cody. What else do we have right now as far as WrestleMania card?
Ellen Knight and AJ.
If they've confirmed, they haven't confirmed it yet. They haven't confirmed anything really except for Cody and Roman at this point.
Yeah.
So
I think you pretty much have addressed all of it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be a good card.
I think
it's shaping. It's shaping up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. So we'll I'm sure we're going to get more on WrestleMania in the coming weeks. Dan, let's talk about AEW Collision from this week, right?
All right. Yeah. I mean,
first thing I want to talk about is a match that I really wasn't looking forward to at all because it's Sammy Guevara, and I can't really get behind Sammy Guevara really, no matter what he does. But
I want to so bad because he's so good in the ring.
Brother, my God, if they didn't fucking throw everything in the kitchen sink in this fucking match between him and Hobbs, the spots that they did, the spine buster through the table on the outside was probably my favorite spot.
Yep.
But at the end, and then the world's strongest slam off the top rope or the middle rope through the table to end the night. Man, I thought that they kicked ass, dude. And this every time Hobbs is out there, he just further solidifies why he is one of my favorite big men in wrestling today. And he's not
a specimen.
He's not someone who deserves to be in a throwaway match called Meat Madness because he's a big meaty man. It's like, and that's another thing too. Like, and I'll say my piece about Meat Madness until we get to like running down the card later. But I just think that yeah, big meaty men slapping meat. It's something that people say, but like when you just, I think that Tony, if he keeps advertising things like this, it's gonna ruin the allure of like two big guys that are fighting each other. I don't know. Just like putting a label on it, like Meat Madness, is just kind of weird, in my opinion.
Putting a label on it like Meat Madness and having it just be 3 dudes, and instead of some like, you know, battle royal or something to that effect, like I'd be okay if it was a battle royal or a bigger match, but it's not. So just 3 big dudes having a match and then naming it, yeah, it's pretty silly.
Yeah, yeah. I just think Hobbs deserves better, man, and I hope that coming out of Revolution there is something more for him, because this is a guy that, let's be honest, you know who he's friends with. You know he's a CM Punk guy.
Yeah.
AEW cannot let someone like Hobbs just slip between their fingers. You know, they need to start pulling the trigger on him. They need to start pulling the trigger on Ricky Starks too, man, because you know he's a bit directionless as well.
There's only so much time in the week and yes, I understand there's things that you would rather not see, and me too, but there's only so much time in the week. So
But the thing that separates Ricky Starks and Hobbs to me from a lot of talents that are in there is like, not only are they great in-ring talents, but they are defined characters and they're both good on promos. And that's and when you are looking at people to like feature every single week, I think that they need to baseline feature the guys that can actually talk, make sure that you have room for them on the show, on either
I think
show.
I think Hobbs is a better promo pre-tape than he is in the ring, but I agree with you on Ricky.
I've seen him be pretty solid in the ring.
Solid, but I think Ricky is just another level.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, go out of your way to watch this match. I thought that this was really fucking good. Oh, you know what else I thought was really fucking good, bro?
Sure.
FTR versus Shane Taylor Promotions.
Yes.
And I was so blown away by how well Lee and Shane Taylor worked together as a team. I was very entertained by this match, and I think that there's more to do with them together. I think you want to insert them in the tag team division and start giving them wins and build them up in the rankings. I think that's the way to go, man. That's a direction, that's a defined direction for both of those guys, that they're constantly trying to like insert Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty into matches on Collision. I really think that putting them together as a tag team right now is the right move. And they showed out, and they showed just how fucking good they are as a team against FTR.
I think there was rumors that they were going to be adding to Shane Taylor Promotions too.
Okay.
Which would be interesting. I don't know who or where from, but could be intriguing to see how they do that, especially if they wanted to make them into a trio of some shape, form, or fashion.
Well, I heard that LFI was going to be expanding, and I heard that they're going to add 2 new members. And for my money, I think it's going to be Thunder Rosa, who we saw on this show.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be the recently signed Black Taurus.
Well, Rosa, yes, because if you see, I mean, the thing is, she did the LFI salute after her match. If you had noticed that subtly, she did the whole like fist in the air thing. Yeah. So, cool. So who knows? Maybe it'll be sooner rather than later. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think that factions are an easy way to get people on TV. Some people knock them, but you know, if it gets people on TV and it gets people maybe some more ring time or a little bit more exposure that they weren't going to have maybe necessarily prior to that, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think that it is a good way to get people on TV, but you also can't like lose the plot and just kind of put people together just out of that necessity, you know?
For sure.
Yep. I mean, I don't really have much to say about Bang Bang Scissor Gang against Iron Savages, honestly. I mean, between that and the Thunder Rosa match, they were just squash matches.
Yeah.
Not really much to say other than that.
Nope.
Fuck, bro. Brian Keith versus Malachi Black. This was awesome. This was so damn good.
It's just wild to see Brian Keith against a guy that's been one of my favorite wrestlers for, how many years now. I was
finally Malachi Black in a singles match.
Yeah, and it was as good as it was to be expected. It was fantastic. Brian Keith is just a consummate professional, and I just am so glad that he is getting this shine on Collision. Yeah, and I know saying shine when you're constantly losing is bad, but like I said last week, him and Amanada both are in this position right now where they're taking these L's, but they are going to be people that are going to be prominently featured going forward, just like people like Sky Blue were for a short period, Julia Hart. They all went through this sort of losing streak before they made it. Even Daniel Garcia to a point. So it's going to be intriguing to see.
And the storyline going on here is that Mark Briscoe has a problem with House of Black. They were pretty insensitive to Mark Briscoe, I think, as it related to Jay, right?
Yeah.
And I'd like to see Brian Keith join in and help out Mark Briscoe in this whole situation. I think that the idea of Mark Briscoe and Brian Keith teaming up with each other temporarily here is a good idea.
And it's explainable too, because Brian Keith is the bounty hunter, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially he can team up with anybody at any point and be like, fuck you, pay me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not a heel thing. It's I got your back, but like, also like, this is a bounty I'm collecting.
You and it's like, also the fact that, I mean, let's face it, man, not as many people watch Collision as they do Dynamite. And it has a lot to do with the fact that it's on a Saturday night. I think it is a bit of a shame that they're doing such a good job with this build with Mark Briscoe, with this House of Black storyline, in that they are really making Mark Briscoe a very sympathetic babyface that you want to get behind.
Yeah.
And I would like them to bleed over that story in Dynamite. Just because, I truly think that they can have something special going with Mark. Because he has such a undeniable likability to him. He's an amazing professional wrestler. He's just as good as anyone at the upper echelon of the card.
I will also say this, and I don't say this to be crass. The further away you get from Jay's death, the less sympathy is going to exist in the fan base. That's just, I don't want to say in the fan base, but I think that you won't get behind him as aggressively the further away you get from that death. While it's still fresh in our minds, we still want to root for him really, really hard. Yeah. And it'll just be like really hard in the future.
It's going to be hard to ever turn Mark Briscoe heel. For sure.
Never. I just think the sympathy level and the pop level will diminish over time. That's all.
All right. We had Serena Deeb versus Lady Frost. And
good match.
Thought it was a really, really, really good match. And it reminded me of why I like Serena Deeb so much.
Lady Frost.
Lady Frost, they showed highlights of her in Mexico before the match too. And I like that. I like that they show, they don't always do that with people that you haven't seen on TV in a while, and they
on Collision than on Dynamite.
But yeah, they need to do that more consistently on both shows.
Yes.
But yes, listen, I love Serena Deeb in the ring. As soon as she got on the microphone, I liked the message of what she was saying. I liked what she was implying, and that like she can be someone that can really, jumpstart the women's division again. But her delivery is just, it's bad. And I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her in that respect, because I know what she was trying to say.
Yeah.
If only she had like better delivery and a better cadence and all that, like it would have been fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
And of course, the main event: Jun Akiyama against Bryan Danielson.
Hell of a main event.
On commentary for this. Yeah, this is fucking awesome, dude. Anytime they get these old heads from Japan that come in and work long form matches, they always make it work. Yeah, Akiyama's great. Yeah. In the end, though, obviously Danielson got the win here. What do you do? Running knee strike.
Yeah,
that's what you got.
Yeah, to be expected. I think it's excellent the way that they showcase Japanese legends and anybody that is like, well, what's the story? Like the story is Brian wants to wrestle fucking everybody.
It's not even like if anyone's asking what's the story, they like reiterated the story of Jun Akiyama being in this match several times on commentary. They said he is a mentor to Eddie Kingston. And Danielson wanted to wrestle him for that reason, because Danielson is trying to get into Eddie Kingston's head. It's not really that hard to figure out, you know?
But people have still complained. And it's just terrifying.
I think that fucking Twitter is fucking toxic as hell. Big hot take.
Yeah, you really told them. You really told them.
Yeah, really. Like, they just need to shut the fuck up and watch wrestling. Like, seriously. Yeah. It's like shut up and wrestle.
There are certain takes and people on Twitter that still aren't always bitching about every single thing and make credible statements. So I try to follow them as strongly as possible. Compared to those that just want to troll.
For sure, man. What we got going on Dynamite this week, Dan?
Oh, Dynamite this week. Sting's final appearance. I just ran past this earlier today, and I want to go back and read it. But apparently, Darby Allin wrote a piece for Players Tribune for Sting. I don't know if you saw that or read it, but
it popped up in my feed. I didn't get a chance to read it yet.
Yeah, I want to take a look at that. We have a segment where Hangman is apparently going to explain what his kayfabe injury is and what his status is. There is a trios match, FTR and Eddie Kingston versus BCC. So that should be pretty hard hitting. And
that not happening with the way that Collision ended.
Yeah, of course. And it's a good lead in, it makes sense. It's a very WWE booking of a go home show, right? But finally, I think the most exciting thing is we're going to see Ospreay on Dynamite, which is exciting. So I think that he's finally technically all elite now. And his run will begin. So I assume he's going to address Takeshita in some shape, form, or fashion.
I don't think it's going to definitively happen until the pay-per-view in terms of a split, but I think he's going to tease tension with Don Callis.
Probably. Yeah. Do you think that they keep United Empire intact in AEW, or is that going to be something that stays in New Japan?
That's interesting. I think it really relies on the fact of when Kyle Fletcher is back, because apparently he's having some visa issues, and also when Mark Davis is back from injury, because those are the two guys from UE that are signed to AEW. Yeah. I think that the other UE guys are going to kind of do their own thing in Japan. Who would emerge as the leader there? I'm not really sure. There's a lot of fucking badass dudes, right on the top of my head. Cobb, Hinare, Francisco Akira, but whatever. I think that I could see Aussie Open coming back and aligning with Ospreay. But I could also see a scenario where,
they all turn on him.
Kyle Fletcher has kind of been brainwashed by Don Callis.
Imagine we see Omega and Ospreay eventually have to team up together when Omega gets back from injury against Don Callis.
Yeah.
Be an interesting enemies turned friends storyline if there was one.
Who knows what Kenny's timeline is?
Yeah.
I want Kenny to take as much time as he possibly needs, and I don't want him to rush anything.
Same. I just miss it. I just miss it on my TV.
I just remember how lethargic he was even with his speech by the time it was time for him to like go on the shelf, and it was not fun to watch.
Yeah, but I miss it. I miss the good Kenny on my television. Like
Yeah.
I miss that. I want that back.
Definitely.
All right, that's all I really know.
Let's preview Revolution. We're gonna do a who we want to win, who we think is going to win. Let's start off FTR versus the BCC. Who do you want to win? Who do you think is going to win?
You know what? I think I'm going to surprise you here because I'm a little bit over Mox. I think I want FTR to win here, and I think FTR is going to win.
I agree with that, man. I think that it's important that FTR wins, just to solidify them as just the stalwarts of the tag team division and just try to reignite the fire in this tag team division.
Yes.
All right. My most anticipated match, the Meat Madness match. Versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Lance Archer. I want Hobbs to win, but the way that the storylines are going, I feel like it would be a real disservice to Wardlow's character if he didn't win. So I think that Wardlow's going to win. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I miss Lance Archer too. It's kind of a shame that he's sort of a throwaway in this match almost.
I think that my favorite thing that Lance Archer has been doing in the past year is teaming up with Alex Zane. And
Monster Sauce.
Monster Sauce is awesome, bro. And I'd love to see them in the AEW tag team division.
Yeah.
They don't have like a big guy tag team.
No.
Iron Savages, really, I guess. I don't know. They're more or less jobbers these days.
For sure.
Okay, for the AEW TNT Championship, Christian Cage defends against Daniel Garcia. Fuck, do I want Daniel Garcia to win, baby?
Me too.
Really hope he wins, but I hate to say it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Christian's going to retain.
I want Garcia to win, obviously. Garcia wins. I say it.
I hope so. Because I think getting a workhorse for that championship is going to be a nice, refreshing thing for a championship that honestly has just been on ice for the last 3+ years.
Christian has done a lot of good with it. A lot of good. I think it's time to hand it over and let DG turn it into a workhorse title.
Yeah, and Christian's done really good in terms of character work around the title. Not necessarily
he's made it matter.
Like the matches. Yeah, sure. Agreed. Okay. Singles match, Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. I want Ospreay to win. Ospreay's going to win. There's no way in fucking hell Ospreay is losing his debut match. Official debut as a member of the AEW roster.
Yeah, no way, no how.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have Eddie Kingston defending the Continental Crown Championship against Bryan Danielson. Yeah, part of me wants Danielson to win because I want to see Danielson have another run with the Ring of Honor World title. But as a realist, I think that this is completely set up for Danielson to definitively put over Eddie. I know that he really does like Eddie, even though he talks shit in the promos. He still says that he's never seen anyone with more potential than Eddie Kingston. So I think that he's going to give Eddie his respect. He's going to shake Eddie's hand. This is going to be a fucking banger, bro.
Bang, bang, Eddie gang. Yeah. I want him to win. He's going to win. It's going to be, I think it's going to be our match of the night as co-attendees. I think we're both going to be on the edge of our seats for this match, to be completely honest with you.
I agree. AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Toni Storm defending against Deonna Purrazzo. I want Toni to win. I think Toni's going to win.
I want Deonna to win because I want to see if it turns Toni crazier, but I do think Toni's going to win.
That's a good reason. Just glancing, going through this card though, I'm disappointed realizing how dead the TBS championship has been in the last 3 months.
Yeah, because it's not
with
on
Julia
this card.
Yeah, it's not on this card, and like,
Is she hurt?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but like, they haven't acknowledged it at all. They haven't acknowledged that championship at all. Like,
No.
I don't. What the fuck is going on with that? Like, because it looked like a couple months ago with her coming back, it looked like they were maybe going to do Thunder Rosa versus Julia Hart, and that would have been a great match. But that's too bad. AEW International Championship, Orange Cassidy defends against Roderick Strong. I think OC wins. I want OC to win.
Do you? Really? Okay, I want OC to win, but I got Roddy winning here.
I don't think Roddy wins, man. I think this has just been extremely cold to me.
I think it's cold too, but I still think Roddy's going to win. I don't know why. I just had that feeling. I have a feeling that there's going to be something on the card that's going to disappoint me.
The rest of the kingdom have softened up Orange Cassidy going into this in the weeks leading up to it with his matches against Taven and then against Bennett. So they could definitely tell that story, but I just, you know how I feel about Roddy right now.
Yeah, I know.
It's not that positive.
I'm not, totally on the Roddy bandwagon either, but I just have this feeling that TK is, and that Roddy's going to win the title.
All right, next for the AEW World Championship, Samoa Joe defends against Hangman Adam Page and Swerve. I want Swerve to win so bad, bro, but I just don't think it's going to happen yet. I think that Samoa Joe retains here.
The old says that sigh. Yeah, I want Swerve to win, but if not now, when? That's my question. So I'm gonna say
in a proper singles match,
but it keeps Joe strong still. If Swerve pins Hangman again, Hangman goes into another spiral, which is Hangman's bread and butter, right? So to me, it just makes sense to have Joe stay strong and Swerve take the title by beating Hangman.
I think it makes sense too, man, and I want that to happen. I just don't think it will.
It's going to thump either way.
Yeah. And finally, what we would assume will be the main event, Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Sting's retirement match. Young Bucks win this, bro. And I think that Ric Flair plays a role in the results, sadly.
I'm gonna boo the fuck out that guy. I might get thrown out of Greensboro.
Dude, please don't make a scene. You when I'm down there, you need to make a promise to me that you will not make a scene. Calling out Ric Flair on everything, because there are some crazy fucks down there. I don't want anything to do with them. Keep it to yourself, bro. Just the best reaction you can give to Ric Flair is no reaction at all. Just saying. I don't want to be.
I respect you. I respect you, and I will say okay.
All right.
You might have to physically restrain me or my mouth, but you're big.
The only situation where I feel it would be okay is if we are like overwhelmingly surrounded by like-minded people. I don't think that's going to be the case, man. I just don't.
It's Flair country. I know.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I won't get us thrown out of Greensboro or fought. Mm-hmm. I will have a tame time booing Ric Flair. Just standing there like this the whole time, thumbs down.
Okay. Well, if that's as far as you want to go, that's okay with me. I do have to work on Tuesday, and I don't feel like dying. So.
Okay, I wasn't gonna get you killed. Maybe thrown in the clink, but not killed. Jesus.
You never know, bro. You never know.
I know. Okay,
Right.
but Bucks are gonna win, and it's gonna be magical, beautiful. Where do you think that they put the triple threat on this card? Do you think they open with it?
Possibly.
I hope so.
That might be the right move. And
I
if
hope
and if they do open it with it, bro, I cannot see a title change happening. I just don't. I
no,
don't see it. Yeah.
no. If they
Um.
close with it, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right. So another big match happened this past week that I feel like it's worth us discussing because it was basically for the future of Brit Rest, and it happened to be Will Ospreay's last match in British independent wrestling, and this was Will Ospreay versus Michael Oku. Hot dog handshake, yeah, both of them for me, man. This is definitely, I don't know if it was match of the year, but when I'm considering match of the year, this is definitely a match that I would put into the pool, thinking about what would be the match of the year, because this was very long-term storytelling. It went back to a couple years ago where Michael Oku could not get the better of Will Ospreay. The commentators really painted an amazing picture of this story in that Will Ospreay has repeatedly said to Oku that he's not ready. He's not ready to carry British wrestling on his back like Will Ospreay was. So this was a struggle. This was just very dramatic, back and forth. It went very long, but it was like an epic to me.
yeah. It was really long, man. It was like
It was, but like
50 minutes, I think it was.
you know, if you get invested, you will stay with it because the drama was all there.
I'll watch it again.
It was there.
I was
And
distracted by some stuff at the time,
yeah,
but it was amazing. I think Meltzer gave it 6 stars, which is crazy to me. I didn't think it was quite that good, but I did think it was very good. And again, fair point. I was distracted whilst watching. I want to watch it again where I could sit down and not be distracted by anything because I know what the backstory is. I know how the match progressed. I just didn't get to see the subtle details that make a match go from good to great.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And there were definitely, without giving away spoilers, there were definitely moments that, you know, pulled on your heartstrings in that
Yeah.
match.
Well, I will say the one thing, him, Osprey being the him, fucking Sparta kicking,
Amira.
Amira in the chest was fucking wild, bro.
Mhm.
Like I did not see that shit coming.
That might be one of the moments I was just talking about that kind of tugs on your heartstring.
I
Just
was
like,
like, oh
yeah.
boy. Sorry to
Osprey
spoil that,
has
but I
an
had to.
amazing people ability to get people to detest him with the
And
things
love him. It's
and love him.
crazy.
Yeah, yep.
It's absolutely
So
bonkers.
let's just say this, you know, with it being Osprey's last match in British wrestling, it should be no surprise to anyone that he did drop this match.
Yes.
And it was essentially a passing of the torch in terms of the number one guy in British wrestling. And I think we're going to see a lot of really special things from Michael Oku. And
Yes.
if I could say something else too, and if you don't know anything about Michael Oku, if you actually saw their presentation with him and Amira, they look very, very heel, right? Don't you
Yes.
think? Like with the white and everything, and just he kind of looks a bit pompous.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a direction that they could go in, but right now he is a huge baby face, and
Did he go into that match as a babyface?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he
Because
did.
it felt mid match like they almost were like it was almost like a double turn.
I
Because
don't know.
Osprey is beloved there in Brit Rest, right? And it's his
Oh,
last match.
trust me, bro. By the end,
He was not.
they wanted Oku to win. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yep. I think it's also worth mentioning that No Surrender happened this past weekend. Dan didn't get to watch it, but if there's anything that you guys should really go out of your way to check out, first of all, the tag team title match between ABC and the Grizzly Young Veterans was fantastic. That gets a hot dog from me for sure. And I thought Josh Alexander versus Simon Gotch had a really good match too. Reminded me of how good Simon Gotch is. He's just so criminally underrated.
Love the vaudevillains. Miss them.
Miss
you every day.
There was allusions to the vaudevillains that happened.
I love them so.
There was a moment where he did something to Josh Alexander, and Simon Gotch approached Matt Raywalt on the outside, and he said, "So manly," or whatever the fuck they used to say. Like,
yep.
Yeah. And it was great. I thought that Giselle Shaw had an excellent showing in the TNA Knockouts World Championship match against Jordan Grace. I'm sure you saw the clip of her doing the Spanish fly off the apron onto Jordan Grace. Did you see it?
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
But it was good to see Giselle kind of get her flowers in terms of like her recognition. She's someone that I believed in for a very long time. One of the better like pandemic era wrestlers that I enjoyed like through Progress and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the main event, they had the X Division Championship as the main event, Mustafa Ali and Chris Sabin. And yes, they had absolute banger. And Ali is your new X Division champion. I would give this a hot dog and a handshake.
I saw the results. I have to go out and watch it. I saw one clip from it, then that's it. But Ali, man, is just on a whole nother level right now, and it's just going to be fantastic to watch.
Yeah, there was just so much wrestling that happened this weekend too. In terms of independence, there was a GCW show that happened. I watched maybe a little bit of it, couldn't really get to all of it. There was Beyond Wrestling had a show that happened.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What else? Limitless Wrestling had a show.
Too much.
Prestige Wrestling had a show. I actually did get to see the Prestige Wrestling show, and damn, there were some fucking fire matches on that card, bro.
Is that the card that had Blackwood versus Alec Price? Or am I thinking of a different card?
No, Blackwood actually, this was the card where Blackwood teamed up with Alex Shelley and Tiger Mask.
Okay.
Los Suavecitos.
Yeah.
And then the main event of this card was Ali versus Speedball Mike Bailey. And that really fucking good. And another match that I really enjoyed on that card was West Coast Wrecking Crew against this tag team Sinner and Saint. Have you ever heard of them, Dan?
I have not.
They're Judas Icarus, Travis Williams, one of the more unsung tag teams going today.
I've heard of Judas Icarus.
Yeah, Judas Icarus he's kind of traveled across the country a little bit, but holy fuck, these guys are really, really good. And I think we're going to see them in a lot more places. But yeah, I think I've kind of said my piece as far as independent wrestling is concerned. There was just too much to keep up with.
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I'm not a dad. That's how I do it.
Hey, I mean, you ain't wrong.
Yeah. All right, guys. So next time you hear from us, maybe we'll do a little something once we're all together.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
we shall see.
Do something like that. We'll see what the week brings. But
impromptu live stream from Revolution may or may not happen. We shall see.
Mm-hmm. But as always, follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Can't wait for everybody to go check out the next Wrestlers Lab show, Oh My Glob, which we are proudly sponsoring. A couple matches have already been announced, including Delilah Doom versus Ziggy Haim. I'm very excited about that. Also announced today is that Veda Scott is going to be offering her services to the show, I believe, as a backstage interviewer. Fucking awesome. I have all the respect in the world for Veda Scott and what she does and just how versatile she is in the wrestling community. So very, very excited for everything that's going to be coming down the pipeline for us, my friend.
Yeah, very excited. I was going to announce some of that stuff there, but that is was handled by you, so I don't have much else to say about it other than stay fresh, cheese bags.
Keep watching wrestling.